Yes, thanks for staying with us on the Sports Show. Probably time to turn our attention to the AFL.
Yep.
So we thought we would go to a man who's in the print, on radio, who knows all about the AFL. He's tipped the first one straight out of the blocks. He's got Power Geelong. Give that one a big tip.
Yep.
Talk about Bevo, Michael Bevan. How are you, mate?
G'day guys, thanks for having me.
Well, mate, we want...
I don't know where you get Michael Bevan. Michael Bevan was a great cricketer.
Yep.
And Bevo's a great cricketer too. He's good at most sports. But
we want to see how he produces here, really.
well, let's see. Let's see if he can.
Because the viewers put some serious cash on this.
And
so,
I do notice his shirt, Radio Adelaide, Reach and Real 101.5 FM. Now, this logo, part of the station I'm involved with.
Are you involved with Radio
He's
Adelaide?
actually
well, that explains how Bevo's here.
He's actually under wraps until next week.
Oh, so you're breaking early.
So we've got a bit of an exclusive here on the SA Sports Show. That's the new look and feel of Radio Adelaide that's going to be launched next week. And if you don't know, you should know that KG and Phil Smythe also do a midday sports show, and we're going to let you know about that next week as well.
That is blistering at the moment.
I may be the producer of that show.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, let's get on to it, mate. Friday tonight, of course, Sydney up against Hawthorn at the SCG.
Yeah, always a big game when Buddy's up against the old side, the Hawks.
Yeah.
Sydney have gone along really well at the moment. They've won 3 in a row now. And everyone's written them off after those first 6 games, but they're starting to play some really good footy.
Yeah. Oh, you know what, Bevo? I thought that both of them would be a chance to make the 8, but I think this match determines which one will.
Maybe, yeah.
Which claw back. I think it's the end of the road for Hawthorn. I think this is the must-win round for them. And for Sydney, they might have a week to spare, but I agree with you, Bevo. I think Sydney's showing a bit.
You've got a little bit of mail on Hawthorn, haven't you, mate? Something going on down there? You caught a...
Well, a few whispers going around that maybe Clarkson might be leaving at the end of the year.
Oh.
So where's he going, mate? He won't be out of the AFL, so where do you reckon he'd finish up?
The little story I've heard is he's good friends with Mark Evans, who's the CEO of Gold Coast, of course. And there's a bit of word going around. Rodney Eade's not going too well with Gold Coast at the moment, as you know. So maybe Clarkson could go over to Gold Coast next year. That's my inside word.
Okay, that's interesting, mate. Saturday, the Bulldogs up against the Saints at Etihad Stadium.
This should be a beauty. Of course, both sides coming off losses. Bulldogs were superb against Geelong. They had their chances, probably, but Geelong just sort of ran over in the end with that home ground advantage. Harry Taylor was, of course, of those 5 goals, sort of proved to be the difference. But I think the Dogs are playing okay footy. They have got a few injuries. Saints, a bit inconsistent. Obviously got thrashed by Sydney by 50 last week. It's going to be a good game, but I think the Dogs will be too good.
I'm a Dogs man this week, Phil, but St Kilda, their best is good enough, but their consistency is a concern.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see Rewalt go another year with St Kilda. Melbourne sit in 11th, Gold Coast, we've just mentioned, in 15th. What's your tip?
Oh, this season is so unpredictable, isn't it, guys?
Yeah.
1 week, Melbourne superb against Crows, one of their best wins in 10 years. Then they come out and lose to the Kangaroos, who, of course, they can't beat, haven't beaten them for 16 games now. But I think the Gold Coast is struggling. They got thrashed by Port over in China by 75 points, and I feel as though the D's will bounce back this week.
I reckon this one's going to determine something. Richmond, your team, sitting in 7th spot. They're up against Essendon in 10th, who had a belter of a game against West Coast, of course. MCG, this one might define.
I had jet black hair 4 weeks ago, right? Seriously. But they drive you crazy. I mean, it's very frustrating. The fact is, they're playing good football in patches. They're just not in front when it counts at the final siren. That's absolutely crucial.
Be patient.
And before I ask for your tip, what do you think, Smythe? As a coach, what do you do in Damien Hardwick's position?
It's just got to persist right now. There's nothing more. And it's funny because if you go back a couple of years ago, Port won those close games.
Yes.
Confidence surged. Suddenly they're in the finals. If Richmond could jag a couple of those, self-belief grows and suddenly you're on a roll. All they can do is persist. They're putting themselves in a position to win. They're just not winning. Who do you think? Yeah,
geez, you've got to feel for them, don't you? That's what the second time in 5 years now they've lost by 3 games below a goal. So that's an interesting stat for you guys. Sorry about that impound.
No, that's fine. Thanks for bringing that up. Yeah.
They're playing really good footy. I watched the game against GWS last week and they had their opportunities. They missed some really easy goals in front of goal, which sort of cost them in the end. But I think they're playing good enough football to beat the Bombers, of course. But yeah, it's going to be a big game, the Dream Team game.
I reckon Richmond are going to get him. You?
Look, I have to go. I'm going to vote. I'm going to tip with my heart, but I tell you what, Essendon, they're a silly chance.
They're up and down. They're up and down. All right, we've got to speed up a bit. Boys. Adelaide in 1st spot, Freo in 5th spot, Kirtley Hampton out for 3 weeks for them.
Yeah, that's a blow for the Crows, but as we've seen this year, their depth is really good. Every week they've got new guys popping in, like Hugh Greenwood, of course, kicked 3 goals last week, 15 possessions on debut. They've got so much depth at the Crows. Freo are a real surprise. 6 out of 7 they've now won in their last 7 games.
Yeah.
ever since they lost, they got thrashed against Port, Ross Lyons, brought in all these new kids and they're flying. So this is going to be a really good game of footy, but I think the Crows will be too good.
It has to be Adelaide.
Adelaide? All right, we've got to get the tips on this because the producer's giving me the wind-up. Mate, Collingwood in 13th, Brisbane in 18th.
Collingwood.
Yeah, Collingwood easily.
Collingwood for that one. Carlton in 16th, North Melbourne in 14th.
Carlton have been a surprise packet this year. They've won some good games of footy and they're playing not bad.
And yet they're 16th.
I know, it's amazing, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
But I feel as though the Roos,
Me too.
too good.
All right.
Yeah.
West Coast, who got smacked on the weekend, but they're back home at Domain. GWS, 4-3
flat track bullies, aren't they? They just can't win away from home except for Adelaide for some reason.
Yeah.
But I think West Coast too strong. GWS have just been flying last couple, this year, and they've had the last couple of games have been, right down to the wire. But they've got a lot of injuries now. I think they're down to 26 fit players.
West Coast for me.
So West Coast for me as well.
All right. Well, Bevo will be back next week. Lots of information, depending if he gets 50% or more. Otherwise, he's scrubbed and we'll bring in someone else. Hope you've enjoyed the show, everybody. Oh no, actually, we're not wrapping up, are we? Because we have to do the wrap. So yeah, well, we'll be back in a minute. Yes, well, I tried to get out of this last segment by saying goodbye early, but they said no. Poppy's still got a bit to say, so we're back again. Now, just if you could just move all objects that you could throw out of the vicinity.
Well, I can't throw anymore. I can't bounce. Apparently I can't do anything.
Okay, let's talk about the bounce. Of course, after the weekend, it's back on the agenda. Some of the umpires are saying they're struggling with the bounce.
But back on whose agenda? It's not the players. No, it's not the officials.
No,
it's the umpires.
Exactly right.
Now, for some reason,
occupational
after 100 years, 150 years of football, where we had one umpire bouncing all around the ground, now between three umpires bouncing occasionally after the goal. It's an occupational health and safety issue.
So is that the end of footy?
Well, because it
has to be, doesn't it?
Has to be, because we can't have any contact. I mean, the umpires are complaining that it's too physically demanding of them to bounce the ball.
Right.
Have they paid attention to what's happening around them?
So the boundary, the boundary umpires are done then, because that would be that would be even harder to.
But I don't get it. We've got bodies that are crashing into each other, players that are being tackled hard to each other. We've got players that are actually bouncing the ball as they run at top pace. It's a very physical game. Even though a lot of the thuggery's been taken out, none of the courageousness, none of the bravery, none of the physical contact has really been diminished too much. The umpires' responsibilities has been diminished through three umpires from one. And now all of a sudden they're saying no. You know what it is? I think the pressure of actually bouncing that ball consistently is too much for them. And God bless that lovely lady who had an opportunity, but she didn't have the strength to bounce the ball. Okay, that's not her fault. It's just she didn't have the strength. What it did was expose a flaw in giving females a central umpiring position, as it did, because 9 times out of 10 they won't have the strength. And that's just part of it. It doesn't mean that women can't be involved in the game, and I'd hate for that to happen. They can be, but maybe the responsibility of bouncing the ball should be given to a person that can do it, male or female.
So let's just say, for an example, if you go back, and let's use the Fireys for an example.
Okay, yes.
So they have loaded up with their equipment. There's a lot of male and female that aren't strong enough to carry the gear.
If you are strong enough, you're in.
So they can't get into the Fireys.
Yes.
So for me, surely one of the qualifications then needs to be quite simple. If you can't bounce the ball, now my understanding is she did an excellent job in the SAFL. So maybe, and there was some
deserved an opportunity.
There was some talk that the Etihad Stadium had laid some grass and it didn't give much bounce, but the two male umpires were still able to do it. So kind of didn't hold much value in what they were saying there. So I think they're trying to hoodwink us a little bit.
Yes.
In the end, there's certain qualifications for every job.
Of course.
If you can't bounce, then you can't have the job. As opposed to, well, we'll take the bounce out so those people could come in. Spoke to Brendan Lay today, one of the best ruckmen, I think, through his era. And I said, what's your feeling on the bounce? He said, look, just get rid of it, throw it up, let's get on with it. We haven't got time to argue about it. I said, no, how did you like the bounce? He said, I loved the bounce. The thing about the game of footy is all the ovals are different shapes. The football's a different shape. So there's unusual things that happen in the game. For him as a ruckman, if he had to go just straight up against Sandlands, he was beaten every time. But because the bounce goes at different angles, now it's a read, now he's got a chance, it's part of the game. Don't take it away.
Look, so I agree. I agree 100%.
They are trying to find a way to convince everyone that we need to take the bounce out of the game. Now, you've been to AFL Grand Finals.
Sure.
As have I.
Yes.
Tell me this. Siren sounds. Umpire comes in and the crowd is on the bounce. As soon as the motion starts, the crowd is up.
Yeah.
As soon as it hits the turf and rises, everybody.
Yes.
90,000 people are up cheering.
Yep.
How are you going to judge a throw? Oh, geez, we missed that.
But, look,
one of the great moments in our sport.
100%, look, 100%. And to me, I know that a lot of people are saying, look, it's finished, so let it go. No. You know what? In life, if you accept second best, generally, that's what you get given. So don't accept it. If you believe in it, fight for it. And I believe in it. And so I think the bounce should remain. And it adds another variable in the game, because you can get a bounce that goes marginally left, marginally right, as long as it's not a advantageous bounce that we sometimes get. But those marginals are the difference in a game. How many times have we thought, geez, if only the ball bounced up, if only it bounced away from the boundary and into play rather than that. That is the game. That's what makes the game so beautiful. So from my point of view, I'll be fighting loud and proud for the bounce to be retained.
I'm with you. Otherwise, I think let's change the shape of the footy and make it round, because then there will be no uniqueness about the game.
That's right.
Because the bounce is unique. But a couple of weeks ago, we were sitting here because people were saying, let's take the banners out of the game.
Yeah.
So we're trying to take out the things that make our game unique.
Unique, that's right.
Around the world. I don't know why. Now, the one that probably does need to be and is going to be brought in the next few weeks, the jumper punch.
Yeah, well, you can't.
So they're saying now that, you know, and we're all saying, can you leave the rules alone? Can you leave the rules alone?
Yeah.
But because Cochin got off,
yes,
and other guys have got off this week, they're saying, okay, then we need to, if you punch someone, then the penalty's got to be a week or two.
Well, I would have thought.
Yes or no?
Yeah, yes. I think, you know, punching's out of bounds, we know that. And you know, in my day, we got away with it. But the natural progression of the game, I get that. And there's still enough room to catch up with the play you need to catch up with. You run hard and straight at the ball. Not one of my greatest strengths, but if you're prepared to do it, you can actually hurt someone, make them aware of something you're not happy with in the natural playing of the game. So, but the jumper punch is out because
it's interesting. I went to a TV station this week, and I've had a look at some of the old footage of jumper punches. So they grab them with two hands, and it's the punch and the push. Now, today, it's one hand and it's an upward thrust. So now it's into the jaw, as before. It's kind of pretty much a push more than a punch. So they're saying, okay, the players have worked that out now, so we're going to change the rule. The one that is gutless for me, Bobby, on last weekend, I watched Rory Sloane get punched in the back
at least a
half a dozen times before the ball even got bounced at the start of the game. Guys whacking him with an elbow, punching him with that. Now, surely, all that needs to happen there is for the umpire to step in and go, free kick.
Yeah.
Because you've played, I've played. Players will push it until the umpire does something to penalise them. If you don't penalise me, I'll keep pushing it. Now, depending on the player, if that's a player that punches you in the back or a player that flicks the ball out instead of handballing, the players will push it as far as they can.
You know what?
One free kick and it would stop.
But this is the strange thing. If I throw one at your jaw, just a little punch in the jaw, it's a free kick automatically. If I punch one there, it's not a free kick automatically.
So I don't understand that.
Now, I know the head's sacrosanct, but the fact is, a punch is a punch.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to punch.
Yes.
I don't understand.
Well, I'm agreeing. I mean, if we're going up for a spoil, and I punch and spoil and I get you on the arm somewhere, where we live with that.
Okay, yeah.
But if I'm punching it, I mean, Bernie Vince clearly got punched.
Yes.
It was a clear punch. He was winded. Oh, no, that's okay. We'll let that one go. So now they're tidying that up. I think that's a good one.
Yeah.
I think the bounce is ridiculous.
I do too. And umpires, you know, I think they've lost a bit of credibility. And if they get this through, good luck to them. But I think they've damaged an important, integral part of the game.
I'm with you, Bobby. Hope you've enjoyed the show, everybody. This is it. Once and for all, we're leaving. Hope you can join us next week. Bye, everybody.